I look so tired today. I think it's because I didn't wear eyeliner. Hope it's okay. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I wanted to do a story time video this week, and I've been thinking all week long about what I could do a story time video about, and I asked a bunch of my friends what they thought of a bunch of ideas that I had, so the consensus is that I should start with this one. So I'm going to do a storytime video about how I, once upon a time, for 2 years, was a plus-size model signed to Wilhelmina here in New York. Wilhelmina is a really big agency, and at the time, Wilhelmina was one of the forefront leaders in plus-size modeling. So if you're interested in hearing how I got started in plus-size modeling, please keep watching. So the story is this. After college, where I did a BA in linguistics, which is the study of languages, I ended up at the presidential internship program at the American University in Cairo, in Egypt. Now, I had applied for this fellowship because my friend Elizabeth had done it the year before, and she really loved it. She felt like it was such a life-changing experience, and I really needed something at that point to take me out of my college bubble, to fully immerse me in something new, and I just really wanted to do something adventurous and new. So I was there for a year, and by the end of that, I knew that I wanted to go to grad school. So I ended up applying to do a master's in women's studies, and I had secured my place, and so what lay ahead of me was an entire summer of nothing to do back in New York City. Now, I figured at this point, this was the only time in my life where I felt like I knew where I was going next, which is grad school, and I didn't really have any obligations for 3 or 4 entire months. It was a huge stretch of time, and I was like, wow, like this is the one opportunity I have to really try and maybe get an internship doing something that I would never have done before. And I was living at home, so I didn't really have any expenses. So I had always really been interested in the modeling industry, and only from the agency side. I had read Michael Gross's book Model, which is about the corruption in the model industry. I had seen the documentaries, and I was just really interested in this idea of beauty, conventional beauty, and I really wanted to, and I was very idealistic coming out of college, I really wanted to work in an industry that I would enjoy the beautiful, cool side of, but also where I could help as an advocate for young women. And I did a lot of volunteer work in college, and I really felt like this would be a really interesting way to see if I could get into the model agency as a booker trainee or like an agent trainee and possibly consider it as a career later on. So I was super lucky. I actually walked in to, at the time, Wilhelmina and Maryland agency shared an office on Park Avenue South here in New York. And I walked into Wilhelmina looking for an internship, and they told me that they were fully staffed for that summer, but Maryland agency, which they shared a floor with, was looking for interns. So I walked into Maryland and I got the internship right away. And so I did that. It was one of the most amazing summers. And I bet you're wondering what you do when you're an intern at a model agency. There were probably only about 12 bookers / agents who were working at the agency at the time. It was a small agency. Maryland was based in Paris, and at the time they had satellite offices in Brazil, in New York, and we had sister agencies in other countries and other cities. But in New York, there were about 12 bookers, and I would assist them by sending the models' portfolios out of the office to clients, receiving them, making sure the photos were in the right place, making all the color copies of all the models' tear sheets, helping people arrange the books. And one of the most fun things that I did that summer was take a lot of the young models who were on breaks from school around to all their appointments. If they were too young to go around the city by themselves and their parents hadn't come with them, then I would be the person taking them from appointment to appointment. That was super interesting. I got to go to like lots of famous people's apartments and a lot of famous photographers' studios. I got to meet Mario Testino, like amazing, amazing people. Such an amazing experience. And one of the things that kept on happening to me in the office was in the bathroom, this like petite blonde lady used to follow me, used to stare at me in the bathroom, and she didn't work for Maryland, she worked for Wilhelmina, and she used to stare at me in the bathroom, and then she would, you know, sometimes like not really follow me, but sort of like trail behind me as I walked around the hallway. And I just thought, I was like, well, whatever, fashion industry, people are, you know, they do weird stuff. And one day my office manager, Carol, came up to me after my lunch break and said that Susan Georgette, who had founded the Wilhelmina 1020 division. So the 1020 division was, and they've changed names now, but at the time, the 1020 division was the plus size division of Wilhelmina, one of the most important plus size agencies in the world for models. And it had been founded by Susan. It was for women who are models who are size 10 to size 20. Now, I think this is something that's really controversial in media in general and in the modeling industry, but even though plus size apparel in this country is technically a size 16 and up, in the modeling industry, just like in the straight size, that's what they call it, the straight size modeling industry, you know how so normal models are like size 2 to size 6, and you know the average size woman is a size 14 in the United States, but a straight size model is usually a size 2 to size 6. So with plus size modeling, plus size clothing in stores may start at a size 16, but really plus size models are by and large a size 10 to 14 on average. Yes, there are definitely lots of really famous plus size models who are size 14, 16, 18, and even 22, but the bulk of the work for catalog, for runway, for beauty, for magazines, because the sample clothes are shipped to the showrooms and to the magazines in size 10 to 14, most of the models who are wearing those clothes and are plus size models are size 10 to 14. Agencies will sign women who are as small as a size 8, but that is really, really rare. At the time and now, I am about a size 10, 12. I fluctuate between 10, 12. I've been a size 14, I've been a size 8, but by and large, throughout my life, I've been a size 10, 12. So Susan had asked to meet me, and so Carol sent me in to go see Susan, and she was like, how tall are you? And at the time I was 5'6", and I am still 5'6", which is pretty short for a model. And she was like, well, like, you know, why don't you go and do some test shots? And I was like, what? She's like, you know, I think that you could be a plus size model. And I was totally taken aback. I was super shocked. It never occurred to me to be a model at all. Not only because I'm only 5'6", but it just never occurred to me that I could be a model. So I thought about it for a little while. I wasn't sure if I wanted to do it. I was going off to grad school in the fall, but at the end of the day, I was like, hey, why not? Like, let's do a test photo shoot, and at least I'll have some pretty pictures to show for it. So we went, and I did a test photo shoot, and the pictures came back okay. And so, yeah, Susan was like, why don't you join our board? And that's what I did. So I signed with Wilhelmina, and I had like a model card and everything. I'm going to show you all that stuff in a second. But I signed the standard 2-year contract with Wilhelmina, and I did all the normal model stuff before I went to grad school. I went on a bunch of go-sees, I went to see magazines, I went to see casting agents, just the whole like rigmarole. I ran around the city, I did that whole thing. It was really, really, really fun, and I learned so much from doing it. But what I can show you, I found this because I was organizing my bookshelf a few weeks ago, and I found my model book. So this is my model book. Look, isn't it pretty? And obviously I mean, model books change all the time and every agency changes, but this at the time was the book, and you see it's a little bit yellow with age because I'm old. So yeah, so I can show you. So what happens when you first sign with an agency is that while they're waiting for your test shoots to come back and all your film to come back, and at the time it was film, it was not digital, they take a bunch of Polaroids of you. So I can show you, these were some of the very first Polaroids that my agent took of me. So and they try to take a picture of you just behind, you know, against like a white wall. So here's one of the first photos. And you can see they even put a sticker on it to make sure that, you know, it belongs to them. So there was one. And then because I was working at Maryland, Quokka works at Maryland, who was like a total fiend at the Polaroid, and he was famous for his Polaroid skills. He took some Polaroids of me too. So this was just by a window. And this one, this one, and then here's another one. So yeah, so they take Polaroids of you, and then what they do is they make color photocopies of all these Polaroids. They send them out to their clients, so it's magazines and like catalog clients, brands, places like that, and casting agents, and they just get you on the radar. And what happens is then the casting agents will have go-sees where they'll have hours where you'll make appointments and your agency will send you to go see like 10 to 20 different clients in one day, depending on how interested the clients are in you. And they talk to you, they interview you to find out how your energy level is. They find out if you're a really annoying person to have on set all day or if they want to be around you all day on set. And then they cast you, or they'll keep you for like a later project. They'll keep you in mind, or they're just like, no, you're not for us. So I can show you. So for my first test shoot, we had something called contact sheets. And at the time, before people commonly used digital cameras, this is going to make me sound so old, but it really wasn't that long ago. But a lot of photographers were still using film. So what they would do is they would produce with this roll of photos, and they would be printed on as contact sheets. So this is one of my first test shoots. And you see it's just like a bunch of pictures. This was a black and white outfit. So for a test shoot at the time, we used to do 3 or 4 looks. So this was just, and I think my agent got really annoyed at me for this because you weren't supposed to bring black clothes with you to do a test shoot. But they ended up shooting in black and white. So this is a contact sheet from one of my first shoots. And then I wonder if I have contact sheets. Oh yes. I have some contact sheets from other shoots too. So here are some other, this is from my very first test shoot. I remember this was in Brooklyn. I'm wearing a red leather jacket in this photo. I think I bought the jacket at Banana Republic or something. I can't remember where I came from. So here is a contact sheet for that. This is from a later test shoot right by Union Square. And some other ones, close-ups, laughing shoots, laughing test shoots. Other close-ups. So I think they usually try to do 3 looks and a beauty look, so a close-up look, so they can see your skin and stuff like that. This was sort of a sitting look. I think that's all I have for contact sheets right now. And so I actually was really, really lucky. And at the time there was a plus size fashion and lifestyle magazine. It was called Mode. And I actually have a copy of it. Mode magazine. I don't know if any of you remember this magazine, but it shut down years ago. And my very first plus size modeling job ever was with Mode magazine. And I actually got it about 2 weeks after I signed with Wilhelmina, which was so exciting because sometimes it takes people months and months and months to get work. And this was my very, very first job. So I can actually show you my editorial in Mode. If I can find it, here we go. So it was with another model, and at the time I was 22 or 23 and she was much younger. She was 16. So this is the other model, and I don't remember what her name is. Look at how beautiful she is. But next to her in the opening spread, this is my back. And they put I think it was like it was a fake lizard, or it was a dead lizard that was stuffed. This is a skin story. And there's a very specific reason why my first job was a beauty job and not a fashion job. Turns out 5'6" is really short to be doing fashion, because they would have to hem the pants and they have to hem the dress and alter everything. Also, at the time, and I don't know if it's different now, but at the time, most of the samples were mostly available in like a size 14, and because I was a size 10, 12, I didn't fit into the sample. So I couldn't do a lot of the more traditional plus size fashion work. So I was doing a lot of beauty work. So this was like my back, and another photo of my back. This is kind of cool. They put a spotlight on my back. And then here is my full spread. So I'm wearing a face mask, which I think this is like way ahead of my time because I mean, sheet masks are so big now, but at the time, like, hardly anyone used them. And then this was to show a scrub. And they put it all over my face there. So this was my first ever job. And I thought that was really, really cool. So then after you get your first job, you get your first comp card. So basically this is like a model's calling card. It shows a sample of their work. And since I had only done one job and one test shoot, this was my first ever card. I think there's like part of it is peeling off, but this was a Polaroid from the shoot that became my first card. So there's my name. And then on the back, they put 2 photos from my test shoot and, you know, the name of the agency and stuff. But on here, they wrote that my height was 5'7.5", which is a really big flub. And so what would happen all the time is they would send me on castings and go-sees, and I would wear heels because they were like, just wear heels, you'll be fine. So I would show up and they would look at me, the agents would look at me, and the casting agent would look at me, and they would be like, take your shoes off. Like, they knew what was up. So I did that. After that, I booked a commercial with Samsung, but I think it was some kind of promotional thing. And I did some other random stuff here and there, but I was never a big breakout model. Like, I basically was, I was not a very successful plus size model, mostly because I was in England, I was in grad school, and also because I never really fit the archetype of what a great plus size model was. I was too short, I was never quite the right size, but I can show you some of the other work that I did, which is really fun. This was my second ever comp card, and this was built on another test shoot that I did. So it looked like this. You know what's great? My like lipstick is so light in this picture. I don't know if you can see. It's very like frosty and like very like of the time, I think. And on the back we have more like images from shoots. But this was their new logo. And on here they said my height is 5'8". And they put my size as size 12, even though I was pretty solid, like a large 10, very small 12. Yeah. Super interesting. Here are some other Polaroids I did. This was from a test shoot. I was standing on a balcony. Let me know if you can focus on it. So this is on a balcony. This was really fun. This was like a fake punk look that we did at a test shoot. What else? More balcony pictures. I can show you my book. So in my book, this is a photo that was in like the Wilhelmina book. So at that year they put out an actual like almost like a magazine book that had all of the models they repped in it. So this is one of the images of me in it. So it looks like that. And let's see what else. So here is a beauty shot and a blown up version of one of my test shoots from the magazine. This shot, the sitting photo. Oh my god, I did this shoot in Marie Claire so long ago. It was part of a size story where they photoshopped you bigger and smaller than you to try to figure out which was your real body. And it's the idea of body dysmorphic disorder where so many women think they are bigger than they actually are. But this is like kind of embarrassing because I'm wearing a silver swimsuit. So I'll do this really quickly. I think I was pretty ballsy to, you know, wear a silver swimsuit in a national magazine. But that was before the internet really took off. I mean, the internet was around, but it wasn't like, you know, as important and as everywhere as it is now. Here's some black and white photos. Let's see, what else? More test photos. My friend Chris did some photos of me when we were living in London. Look at my hair. I also think that the downfall of my career as a plus size model was that I went to fashion school in London after I got my women's studies degree and I had some crazy hair. And to be honest, one of the most important things if you are a model, especially in plus size modeling, and if you're just starting out, is that you really have to be able to fit into a brand's, like you have to be able to represent almost any brand to the brand's best messaging ability. Does that make sense? And honestly, in plus size modeling, because so many of the brands that you're representing and so many of the companies that you'd be working for are much more mainstream, getting a faux hawk and shaving half your head off and then dyeing part of your hair blonde is probably not the smartest thing to do when you're trying to make it. This is one of my favorite shots. It's me surrounded by a bunch of blondes who are also part of my agency. I really love that shot. And yeah. So yeah, so that is my story of when I was a plus size model. It was very short-lived. I was with the agency for 2 years, and then I was in England for 4 years, so I never re-upped. I was not cut out to be a career model or a career plus size model. I ended up not working in the modeling industry at all, like not even as an agent. I came back to New York and I just started working in media. I love the model industry, and when you find good agents and good people in the industry, they are some of the best people in the world, because if you think about what their job is to take care of young women and men who need to be protected from a lot of predators who prey on beautiful young people. And I think if you're a parent and if you are thinking about sending your kids to New York or Milan or LA or Paris to become professional models, it is so important to find an agency where the people who work there really, really care about the people that they're in charge of. Because I mean, that's one of the reasons why I really loved Wilhelmina and I really love Marilyn. I love the agencies, and I love the agents who work there, is because they were really kind and good people. And I met some of the best people I've ever met in my entire life in those years. So yeah, that's my story time. If you have any questions about getting into plus size modeling, I have not been in the industry for a long time, but I will try to answer them the best I can if you want to leave those comments and questions below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next week.